The number one album of the year. It's so easy. This is so easy. What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the 182 News YouTube page. Appreciate you checking out this video. Every year, I say I'm going to count down my top 5 favorite albums of the year, and I always forget, so this year, I'm doing it. I don't necessarily mean for this to be strictly pop punk, because I do listen to a ton of different genres. However, my top 5 this year did happen to fall under pop punk, so we'll put it there. Coming in at number 5, I have Sum 41's Heaven and Hell. And I will say, I'm not the biggest Sum 41 stan in the world. I think like a lot of us, Fat Lip got them on our radar, have always appreciated them as solid pop punk with hints of metal in there. And this album, I really enjoyed. It takes a lot for me to sit down and listen to a full album, much less a double album. And the fact that they are going out on their own terms and having these awesome shows all over the world, I really respect that. I still need to read Derek's book. I've asked Santa for that. We shall see if it happens. Coming in at number 4, this is an incredible album. This comes from thestorysofar. The album is called I Want to Disappear. And I will say I'm a little bit older, so thestorysofar in like early 2010s really wasn't on my radar. However, the recent No Pressure side project of Parker's, I just absolutely love that band, love that album, and I think it has opened my eyes to some of thestorysofar's music. So when this album dropped, I was stoked to dig into this, and I could not stop listening to it. Like Big Blind, Watch You Go, Jump the Gun, just absolute bangers. I really love this album. I probably listened to Big Blind 250 times this year. It's insane. Killer album, have that at number 4. Now coming in at number 3, I almost didn't even put this on my list because technically in the band's eyes, I do think they think of this as B-sides or just leftover material from the original album. However, being a Blink channel, Blink podcast, I had to put this in here. And I also think it speaks volumes that they're B-sides per se or leftovers still absolutely crush most bands' full-blown releases. This is One More Time Part 2 by Blink-182. And I was not expecting this. This was an extension of the One More Time original release. Blink has blessed us with 27 tracks over the past couple years. It's been insane. Really great time for the band. It really seems like even amongst themselves as friends, it's just been great. And obviously for the fan base, most folks are stoked that Tom is back and they're playing huge shows all over the world. So this was really cool to hear. Just like the original release, I feel like there is something for everybody on this album. I think a lot of folks, when Tom rejoins, you're curious. Do they pick up where Neighborhoods left off or Dogs Eating Dogs? Do they, try to combine 9 with Life Forms and kind of have that blend of where they all are? And it really just blew me away, even going back to the original release, on just how all 3 of them together are writing just authentic music, and it sounds like just a perfect blend of all 3 of them. You have bangers from More Than You Know. You have more or less radio-friendly hits like A Fell in Love or An Edging. And then you also literally have Boxcar Racer songs like Terrified. And I think this One More Time Part 2 was an extension of that. We have some slower stuff. We have some upbeat, fun stuff. There's a song on this, All in My Head, that is one of my favorite Blink songs of all time. I cannot say enough about this. It really reminds me of just the perfect summer, like take off your pants and jacket vibes. I love this song. Can't fathom how it didn't make the original release if it was truly written back then. Killer one. Can't Go Back is one of my favorite Blink songs. And then No Fun is a lot of fun. So I have One More Time Part 2 coming in at number 3 on my top 5. Number 2. Giving this to my boy, Matt Skiba. I was super curious to hear what was going to come of Alkalinetrio next. Their last release, I believe it was 2018, is This Thing Cursed. That's when Matt was still with Blink-182. I loved that album, so I was very curious to hear what the follow-up would be. And now that everybody is back at home, Tom back with Blink, Matt's back with Trio full-time, I was stoked for this album. and it lived up to the hype. I mean, as soon as it kicks off, Hot for Preacher, banger. There's a song Bad Time on there that I cannot stop listening to. I bet when that came out, I listened to it 300 times. Absolutely amazing album, front to back. Stoked that Adam Willard is now in the band. I know Derek tracked this, however, Adam is with the band full time now. Super rad album. Can't say enough positive things about it, and just a solid follow up to 2018's Is This Thing Cursed for me. I still don't know which one I like better. Like, I really like both of these albums. I might give the edge to Is This Thing Cursed, but may need to do those side by side. Might be a fun episode. Coming in at number 1, the best album of the year for me, hands down, and it was easy. This is so easy. When everybody drops their little recaps and you look at your Spotify and your Apple Music, this won by a landslide. Every category for me. Number 1 artist, number 1 album. Literally the first 10 top songs were from this record for me, and that is Neckdeep's Self-Titled. This album is incredible. I cannot say enough positive things about Neckdeep. I love this band. I think when it comes to pop punk, they are just doing it in such a refreshing way, and it's authentic and genuine, and it's just so good. Put on this album, really even tracks 1 through 5 are just pop punk perfection, banger after banger. When it comes to pop punk, in 2024, I mean, this is really as good as it gets. And I know that they were inspired, just like most are, by Blink-182, by New Found Glory. However, unlike 99% of bands who have been trying to imitate that and replicate that 1999 Enema sound for 25 years, they do it in a way that is really just coming from being inspired by those bands. It's not a ripoff. It's not trying to be Blink. It's not trying to be New Found. They're doing it in a way that you can tell that they were inspired by it early on, but have twisted it and made it into their own. And it's just a killer album. I think it's so fresh. It's so authentic. And it does not seem like they are trying to be somebody that they are not. Their last album, All Distortions Are Intentional, I loved, and I genuinely think it's a masterpiece. It's a concept album. It was definitely a departure from some of that pop punk, like Warped Tour sound that you might expect out of Neckdeep. However, the band made a conscious effort to return to what they know and what they do best, and that's pop punk, and they absolutely killed it on this album. Hands down, album of the year. My only knock against it, I did a review on the channel right when it dropped. My only criticism, and Ben Barlow, their lead singer, shared it as well, is he just wishes there were more songs. I just wish there was like 12 songs. But I will say, the more that I've listened to this throughout the past year, I'm cool with the 10 tracks, because as soon as you finish the 10, you just can't wait to roll back into the Dumbstruck intro and just keep listening to it over and over again. So definitely check out Neckdeep if you haven't. Catch them live if you haven't. They put on an incredible show, and those are my top 5 of the year. I would love to hear yours. I know it's kind of a thing where people get mad when people post their Spotify Wrapped or Apple Music year recap, whatever they are called. I love those. I love seeing what everybody's listening to throughout the year. I discover new music that way. So if there's stuff that I should check out, drop them below. Drop your 5 below. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great, happy holiday season. And we will talk very, very soon. See ya.